afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another exciting Propagandacast with me, your host, ImperialDane, Master of Propaganda, Hero of Reich, Defender of the Fatherland. We're off here to an exciting 1 versus 1 on Crossing in the Woods between KeineLust, fighting here for the United States of America up here in the north, with mechanized recon support and airborne with a bit of infantry armor there, forming up the 5th Infantry Division going up here versus Germany. This ImperialDane fighting for the Wehrmacht with encirclement, assault support, and mobile defense. Mix of infantry and armor there as well, though in this case, Sturmgeschütz. Dual pioneers start there, by the way, but for the 17th SS Panzergrenadier Division, which exclusively fought on the western front, by the way. Little fun fact there. It was also largely composed of ethnic Germans from Hungary. So, little fun there, but we got KeineLust arriving. Going for dual pioneers, since basically I figure I can't really sort of fight the Americans one-on-one initially. So rather than trying that, I'm going to just grab as much territory as possible, try to sort of make it harder for them that way, and thus otherwise rapidly tech up. Got points there being secured. We got the rifleman here. He's focusing rather hard on the right-hand side, whereas I'm sort of focusing on the left-hand side here with one grenadier squad then following up. Whereas he's only sending one unit down there. And getting an MD-42 after my grenadiers in this case because, well, I'm just going to grab as much territory, then if I encounter any Americans, I'm going to sort of try and slow them down with an MD-42, basically. There you go. Securing the point there. Points here being secured as well. Pioneers being got secure here. We've got riflemen standing about there. And he's actually neatly gone here for airborne. Calling in the 101st Airborne to support, alongside other assets here, for the glory of Uncle Sam and liberty. Capture complete. And looks like we got some more riflemen there arriving for KeineLust. And there you go, shots fired. Again, grenadiers are falling back. So where's a few shots there, but overall sort of major engagement. In this case though, I realise this is not going to work out for me if I'm just falling back here. And then I'm just sort of basically going, well, how am I going to approach this? Since overall here the head-on assault would not be too wise from my side. Shifting over the pioneers, but rather decide instead to sort of wire off here, because usually they'll sort of try and walk through and sit with barbed wire. He's either going to have to cut it, he's going to have to take a broader path, or longer path, which might draw me into my MD-42. At the same time, your pioneers encountering a larger force. I was not sure where the re-echelons were. I was sort of thinking here, and I was thinking the major push would be over here. That's where things usually go. But he was actually sort of putting most emphasis over here with riflemen. So in that regard, my pioneers run into a bit of trouble. We've got the fighting position going up here for the KeineLust as well, rather up to sort of secure him that fuel point and make it hard for me to secure. And certainly take. We got additional grenadiers there. We got nothing here sort of really going on here for KeineLust. No upgrades so far, or no teching. And in this case, I basically decided, alright, if it's going to be with that on, I'm going to sort of try and flank up here. I'm going to hope he's either going to sort of draw out here, in which case I can catch him with the MD-42 here, or option B is I sort of try to flank around him here and catch him that way. Either way, I'd sort of want to avoid a head-on assault here, since with the riflemen, and this early on in the game, and they've got heavy cover, this is not going to work out very well for me. And meanwhile, though, he's pushing across here with the rest of the map pretty aggressively. We got the 50 caliber there going up in the fighting position, and we got a lieutenant up there for KeineLust. I've got some pioneers waiting. Basically, in this case, they're acting as my eyes and ears, because I have a rather sneaky suspicion he might try and push for here, and that's, well, what's going to be happening. In fact, so that's rather going to force me to have to respond to that in turn. Pioneers in a bit of trouble. Forced away. Grenadiers, pioneers moving in. We got more riflemen moving in. Though in this case, I'm only seeing these riflemen. Going to have to shift the MD-42. In this case, I also do this. I sneak up the grenadiers here behind here. Catch the riflemen from behind where their cover does not apply. Pioneers are basically sort of trying to stall the cut-off there. Trying to get off some shots here. The pioneers need to retreat rather rapidly. They can focus down pretty quickly. In this case, I was too slow, losing a pioneer there already. Pretty harsh loss there initially. He's got the lieutenant out. Raven here, taking a few shots. Though there's only 3 windows here, so the grenades can't quite bring their full strength to bear, though. In this case, Jack went down. MD-42 shifting down. Looking rather rough here.
Enemy forces are securing our territory.
Grenadiers need to retreat. MD-42 opening on the riflemen, suppressing them. Other squad retreating. We might grenadiers dealing with the riflemen. You got the lieutenant standing here across the northern victory point. But there you go, the MD-42 turn things around here. Grenadiers a bit of trouble. Despite the riflemen being negative cover, I end up having to retreat there. I have checked up, by the way, but in this case, I'm actually playing out a slightly different strategy. I basically sort of figure at the moment, Wehrmacht Tier 2 is actually not very effective versus the United States, except the Pat 40. So in this case, what I'm trying to play off is a strategy that basically sort of relies on going through here as quickly as possible. I sort of go for light Tier 1, which is actually a bit risky. I probably should augment it with an MG42 more, at least for future sort of references. But in this case, I went rather light because in this case, there's one thing that I have to be very off, and of course that's, oh hey, a lieutenant, which means he's going for vehicles. In which case, I do have a plan because that is otherwise a bit of a weakness in the Wehrmacht. You know, if you skip that, you're pretty buggered if he goes for light vehicles of any kind. But in this case, my response is stormtroopers with Panzerschrecks. At the same time, them also taking up pretty rapidly. Quick rifle grenade here to try and catch the lieutenant. Doesn't quite work out. At the same time, advantage here from Pathfinders called in. Bit interesting to see that. Usually a lot of American players do tend to neglect the Pathfinders despite them being pretty solid infantry as well, as long as you don't expect them to take a position single-handedly. They're Pathfinders and not, you know, Captain America. There we go, we got a pretty rapid AA half-track up here for KeineLust, which I believe, by the way, is a song by Rammstein, which only makes it a bit more weird. He's playing as the US. In this case, trying to push here for his cut-off point, though in this case, I rather rapidly figure out what's coming my way. Of course, in that response, I probably should have gone for the Stormtroopers early column as soon as possible, and in this case, didn't quite do that, so there's going to be some delay there before I get them out and get a Panzerschreck out. Of course, I could have gone for assault rifles here, but rather my main priority is the vehicle, and knocking that out. There you go, Stormtrooper arriving. Panzerschreck. By the way, the badge there is from another Panzer Grenadier division, the Brandenburgers, which were actually initially more of a special ops unit, but later basically turned into a regular Panzer Grenadier division. Fun fact there. But in this case, a bit of shooting going on here. I'm basically hoping he's not realising I'm going for the Panzer. In this case, he just pop a bun grenade because I actually don't know how much damage it would do. So in this case, I'm just sort of trying out things to see, well, what actually happens. In this case, though, due to my laxity in getting the Stormtrooper getting upgraded, in this case I rather miss an opportunity to actually, well, pop a Panzerschreck through the hood here. Trying to make it close, but ultimately I'm too suppressed, there's too many shots going down here, and in this case I'm going to have to give it up. Meanwhile though, pushing towards it as well, no point sort of get caught up in only one side of the map though. Soon I'll have to realise I'm going to have to focus it. Sadly, at the same time, cooldown here is still up, so otherwise I could have probably popped them in here and surprised the crews there. So that was also another option there for those crews. But right now, he's pushing pretty aggressively towards the left-hand side. Again, he's pretty calm here about the right hand. And I am looking rather understaffed at the moment. And certainly rather pressured. I mean, he's got a notably larger force than me, again, in particular because I was sort of rushing ahead. I need to, of course, get the support armor co-op then, though even that's going to be delayed ultimately, also in part due to the loss of fuel point here. Rifle grenade there, MD42 setting up. In this case, though, I've got incendiary armor-piercing rounds. And hopefully he doesn't realise, at least that's the thought. And there we go. Shots going off, doing quite a bit of damage here to the half-track. Sadly, though, has to reload. At the same time, getting suppressed here. At the same time, loses a gun as it can't even fire then. Well, we've got Stormtroopers arriving. But there's another thing here going on. I figure he's going to move over towards here. In which case, I'll pop in Stormtroopers to try and catch the vehicle crew and kill that. Meanwhile, the assault here continues ever sluggishly. Pathfinder's doing what they can here to stop the German advance, but that's not really working out. Kills the MD gunners, wiping all the veterans who were right here. I do manage to wipe the vehicle crew, forcing him to actually send in some riflemen to recruit it. Stormtroopers sprinting forwards, but again, I can't quite get there in time. Over here, I realise he's got that pointed down. At the same time, for him, there's not really much going on there. So far, again, though, he's playing pretty aggressively, pretty hard-handedly, and again, you know, he's clearly playing alongside the fact, you know, early on there's not a lot from him out that can sort of really stop him, and certainly I'm not making it any more difficult, again, with my current strategy. Again, an additional MD40 here might have been a wise idea. Now he's actually popping in paratroopers. We're definitely going to be seeing something, I believe, a bit different, if I'm not too mistaken. Something which you usually don't see very often, at least I haven't seen very often. There we go. He is playing super aggressively with his paratroopers. He's actually dropping them behind enemy lines. Not a lot of American players actually don't do that, but in this case he's actually doing it probably for disruption purposes. I mean, you know, if I had a larger force I could probably punish him, but he's probably thinking I got a small force, he could get away with it. To a certain extent he can. Quick grenade after the paratroops are forced away. I also got an MD-42 which I need to secure overall. My positions are a bit spread out. But support armor core going up, and soon I can call in a Sturmgeschütz. And in that case I'm rather hoping he hasn't sort of been able to sort of rapidly take on. I mean, again, the A half-track does, in theory, give me more breathing space, but again, the loss here certainly has given me less. By the way, Sturmgeschütz on the way. Stormtroopers reinforcing. He's moving up right here to secure some territory for the United States of America.
We are ready for action.
Also, a fun fact about the 17th SS, the German High Command was generally not too impressed with the results throughout the war. Well, the small part of the war at 14 actually sort of at certain points sort of argued, well, maybe we should begin handing over all the stuff they get to other units that might do better with them. So, little fun fact there as well. Not all of the SS divisions were super elite. Some in fact were quite the opposite. As we got moving in there again, the A half-track. In this case, quickly inflicting some nasty losses. He's using rear lines this time around to sort of crew it. We got some Browning light machine guns on there. And there we go, Sturmgeschütz. Ausführung G. Moving ahead here again, I'm very much hoping he's not going anything sort of quickly ruined, otherwise I'm kind of ruined. There you go, shots fired. In this case, he's just basically pulling a bit of blob assault. In this case, he's probably feeling rather confident, and I'm rather able to take advantage of this with my MD-42 and the Sturmgeschütz, forcing him away. In this case, he's also got a major forward point. In this case, I'm just sort of moving forwards again. I'm thinking, alright, Blitzkrieg. Zerstören Sie die armies. By the way, though, in this case, I rather realise, oh, well, looks like I might have a chance of doing some damage, or at least getting the A half-tank. Right here, I'm not entirely sure what he's intending. Maybe he's doing it to sort of save the rest. Either way, though, I go for this. He's popping in, by the way, another paratrooper unit. And right here, there's actually... Theoretically, I could have rushed up, maybe done some more damage, but overall, in KeineLust 2, I'm not such a huge fan of rushing into my opponent's base unless I am 100% confident he's not going to get anything to deal with me. And again, I saw the majors, so I know there's ever a chance of something nasty happening there. But in this case, again, another very aggressive paratrooper drop. I mean, I don't recall ever seeing anyone use them in such an aggressive manner. And it certainly caught me off guard. Got some rifles sneak about there. And the Stormtroopers gaining veteran to 1. Stu rolling lightly ahead. And in this case, I'm pretty just realizing, hey, I've pushed back his blob. If we can sort of push ahead a bit aggressively, I mean, I'll probably push away somewhere, but overall, if I push broadly, I should be able to take away a lot of territory from him. And again, that's a bit the problem when you sort of begin hitting up with the blobs. You begin having a hard time controlling the map. So that's definitely something you have to be very mindful of. And again, I'm not really a huge fan of blobbers whatsoever. Quite the opposite. Stu moving up here. We got the Pioneers falling back. In this case, I was actually able to catch a rifle squad here with a rifle grenade, leaving them rather dead. The small squad right there, which always helps. Jackson on the way there, who's probably going to sort of try and deal with any armor here. And again, so far, my strategy sort of rushing for armor has met with a few kinks, but overall, I think it's sort of worked out all right-ish so far. Getting a second Stu, because usually, I mean, when it comes to Stu, you usually want more than one to get any sort of proper effect in, I feel. There you go, another kill in this case for the Grenadiers. Paratroop tank from here. Stormtroopers that quick caught on the road and losses are inflicted. Still getting off a few more hits maybe.
We are losing a sector.
And there we go, killing paratroopers and riflemen indiscriminately. Ultimately forcing retreat there. So that rather worked out somewhat. Major moving ahead, we got Lieutenant and Pathfinder spawn. We got Jackson moving out there, the M36. Saw a few different variants based on different chassis. For example, there was one based in the M10 chassis, one based in the Sherman, which was also, by the way, the M10 was also based on the Shermans, and there's a bit so weird there. But more Stormtroopers here popping out, partly because I was rather expecting this to happen eventually. There we go, Stu taking hits. Got second Stu going up here. Bit difficult to manage it all here, and again, Stu has such flimsy armour, pretty much anything can penetrate it. Certainly the Jackson has absolutely no problems there. Trying to rush up my Panzerschrecks. In this case, once Stu quickly worked up, my Panzerschrecks were completely unprepared for this. Stuki needs to get away. Stormtrooper doing what they can, trying to get the Major. Stu needs to be further pulled back, but I wasn't quite handing up the orders. I'm also trying to sort of conduct more kills here on the rest of KeineLust's forces. In the meanwhile, I mean, I might as well try to do as much damage instead of just focusing too much on one thing. There we go. Got the Lieutenant. Taught. There we go. Getting up some good hits on the Jackson with the Panzerschreck. Though, had I been sensibly enough to actually upgrade for Panzerschrecks earlier, I probably could have had 2 versus it, which it probably could have directed right there. So a bit of a mistake there. He's actually pulling up here to the fighting position. Not necessarily a bad idea there for some quick repairs. It's a safe position. But I am not to be deterred, because there's a small path here we can sneak through, and in this case, if you sprint through it, yeah, he's not going to have any time there to react the gunner. So quickly moving up. Quick button grenade. Panzerschreck there, firing though at the fighting position. Bit of a waste there. But quickly taking territory elsewhere. Always, I mean, impossible. Try to sort of hit elsewhere and take territory, but right now KeineLust has been sort of bled out. Shot going off there. Realising I can't hunt him down, so I might as well at least deal here with the fighting position. Secure myself another fuel point for Deutschland. There we go again, moving ahead rapidly. Almost got the fighting position. And there we go, kaput. Got another paratrooper drop here again. He's doing it very aggressively. I mean, constantly surprised by that. Also getting a fuel car to sort of further help there with fuel issues. Never take your opponent lightly, and of course if you can, try to sort of get them off fuel. In particular, I mean, if you're like me trying to play for a fuel rush strategy, a fuel cache is not exactly a bad idea either. Paratroopers riflemen attacking here. Stormtroopers trying to support their veteran too. Stormtroopers there, something heavy casualty dudes being out in the open and also being focused down here. But at the same time, the paratroopers end up suffering due to the might here of the SS Panzergrenadier, the Stormtroopers. Another Stug on the way. Sure, it might not be, you know, the most best thing there versus the Jackson, but at the same time, you know, versus the infantry. And if you can capture Jackson with a pair of them, you can usually knock it up, but it does require a bit of sort of, you know, trickery. There you go, more light machine gun fire. Stormtroopers here supporting the Grenadier. Paratroopers then being hit with a Browning light machine guns, feeling pretty confident here versus German infantry. Ending up taking some rather vicious casualties and actually dropping a Browning light machine gun there again to sprint ahead. Though for some reason they can't take a shot off either way though. Quickly grabbing a Browning light machine gun, which overall certainly increases their lethality there to the armies. Dritte Sturmgeschütz. Point here lost though. Again, also again, he's really aggressively pushing towards the fuel point, also taking up position here. Got a Sherman on the way for KeineLust. Rather forgotten I set a rally point there, by the way. Alright, here, paratroopers, they're basically stalling down in advance. I'm going to move with the Sturmgeschütz for KeineLust. Of course, the Sturm is going to pressure my infantry harder. Of course, I'll setting a bit extra arm there versus the Sturmgeschütz, and there we go. An additional Sherman, but he's definitely going very hard there on paratroopers, which again is a bit rarer to see, at least in 1 versus 1s for me. But moving up several. Also got a P-47 rocket strafe there ready. And these Grenadiers, they're veterans. If you feel like machine gun account, this is probably some of my strongest assets. But the Stormtroopers are probably also quite helpful as well. There you go, Sherman moving ahead. Right there, I thought I actually ordered to Panzerfaust, that did not happen. And of course, right now, my Stug is in a pretty bad position. I was not expecting a Sherman, to be honest. Mistake on my part, but trying to make a way there. Jack's attacking up here for some reason, actually. I'm not entirely sure what he's thinking there, but either way. And now here things get a bit interesting. He actually stops pursuing the Sturmgeschütz and turns back towards it at the same time the MG-42 stopping the infantry from driving here. So we're in the Sherman to deal with that, but that allows my Sturmgeschütz to turn back. Panzerfaust down the Sherman. Infantry moving up here to a bit. Cut off anything, so ensure he can't just sort of sneak up anything. Panzer stormtroopers also moving up, and there we go, close to getting the Sherman. And there we go, got P-47s called in. I quickly pull back the Sturmgeschütz. He's desperately trying to save his Sherman, calling in the United States Air Force just to deal with the damaged Sturmgeschütz. But then again, that was rather American doctrine. Doesn't matter how much munitions you waste on it, as long as someone dies, which the Germans were able to take advantage of. Pulling back here to the base, we've got rocket safety hitting, but in this case, well, it's a bit of a small target, but also the buildings here actually absorb some of the hits. Additional pioneers called in. Also at this point I realise I need another MD-42, in particular considering the way here KeineLust plays. MD-42s look to be surprisingly effective for once. Then again, KeineLust has a rather tendency of relying extremely much on brute force and again just head-on assaults. So if we can sort of play against that, you know, that's good, and sort of play it to my advantage. So second MD-42 team arrived. Stormtroopers quietly advancing there with their pilfered Browning light machine gun. Which, by the way, the variant here they're carrying around also the paratroopers, basically one the Americans sort of, well, made to sort of try and get something closer to the Germans' light machine gun, since they realised that's actually pretty good. Another bomb grenade here, and Americans are pretty bad situation. We've got Jackson here sneaking up, by the way. Rather aggressive play again from KeineLust. Very aggressive play also in some regards when it comes to sort of aggressive flanks, which also caught me off quite caught off guard, because that's usually not what you expect as well. In particular, not from someone who's actually sort of mostly blobbing. But right here again, another blob assault. So many Brownings. Stukin trying to sort of draw it away to sort of get my time to go in the Panzer, but in this case it did not work. Calling in another Stuk though. And you might ask, well, why not go for a Panzer IV? Well, in part because I wanted to use Stuks, but in part on because the Stuk is, or the Panzer IV is deeply reliant on mobility. And I rather figure, well, no matter what he's going to call in and Jackson, deal with it. Stuks are cheaper, got a bit more range, so I figure in that regard I could probably keep them a bit safer. Plus, less likely to get hit with an anti-tank rifle, in which case, you know, oh shit, that's a sitting duck. Right here, though, his blob gets caught by so many machine guns. We've got my troops here. For whatever reasons, though, KeineLust here is actually a bit slow to sort of move away. In this case, it looks like he's trying to clear out the MD-42 through sheer force. Rifle here goes off. Heavy casualties inflicted, so many Americans dead. And between two of these stormtroopers now with a Browning light machine gun there. Jackson getting off more shots. There go the Panzer Grenadier with the Panzerschreck. Some aggressive action there, and here we go. The tattered remnants running off, leaving many of their friends behind. Jackson getting away, closing in on Veteran G2. Another Sherman arriving as well here for KeineLust. Securing points quickly. Pushing up here, the Stormtroopers with the Browning light machine gun advancing. And certainly German infantry was never sort of afraid of using enemy equipment if it had a higher rate of fire usually. In particular as his troops like to do that. Now you got Sherman H2 moving in. In this case, I'm not going to move out here because this is Jackson. Instead, I'm going to hope he's going to pursue the Stormtroopers here. In that case, catch it here with my Sturmgeschütz and a quick Panzerfaust as well, if possible. Those shot there bounced. We got more Stormtroopers with the Panzerschrecks. In this case, he's actually rapidly pulling back, ensuring I can't really pursue him. It's actually time you for the mid-game analysis. Current situation, I've got a decent amount of the map despite everything. I'm sort of holding on here again. He's rather making one grim mistake in a sense, you know, by simply blobbing up, which does make my MD-42 surprisingly effective again. Normally they're less effective, particularly because you don't have smoke grenades either, which might have, you know, allowed his blobs to sort of work at least a bit better. But so far my strategy is sort of working. I'm holding on. I'm not too behind at victory points either. I've got a bit of armour. Got infantry, I've got Panzerschrecks, I've got light machine guns, American, and Germany got a nice bit of veterancy there as well. As to what I can consider doing now, of course, securing a munitions point, but also laying down mines to try and catch his armour would be a good idea there for me. And one thing I could also begin considering is, partly after getting up another fuel cache, is actually taking up and going for some heavier armour instead of just, you know, relying too much on Stugs, despite however nice I might think they are. Of course, if I'm going to get one Stuk, I should definitely get another one, since again, Stugs usually work best in pairs or threes. I mean, A Stug on its own is not very effective. You usually want a pair of them to work together, if possible. And again, that's always something you can consider with other units in the game. You know, consider having them work in a pair. But for the Stugs, it's definitely required for them to work in a pair at the very least. So a little sort of fun fact there for people. But otherwise, push ahead aggressively, secure territory, and mine, and sort of again try to predict where his next strike is going to come from, and then sort of slowly grind it down again and again. There's not really much options from other doctrines, since part again I want to set up fuel for heavier armor or more armor, and the munitions again for mines, or well, for example, more punch strike or even some assault rifles, sort of try and bleed out KeineLust. For KeineLust, he sort of needs to sort of begin spreading out his men more better. He needs to sort of be a bit more tactical in his advances. I mean, he's getting, I think, a bit too lazy there, a bit maybe too confident, I don't know. In that regard, he's bleeding out too heavily. I mean, if he keeps up this way, he could actually end up, you know, losing pretty badly. So in that regard, he needs to sort of spread out his assaults more. He needs to sort of try and attack one point from several angles at once, instead of just, you know, one lump, throw it at the enemy and see what happens. That's not really going to work out. He might also want to consider adding in maybe a Scot to his armour. Adding a little light artillery that way might work out somewhat. More Shermans and more Jacksons could, of course, also work. Another thing to consider might be calling in a 50 caliber to help him secure territory. Would also suppress my men. That would also benefit him. Anti-tank and that guy could also work out. I mean, there are a few options there for KeineLust, but primarily needs to spread up his infantry. Anyways, back here to the fight. In this case, was not able to sort of hunt things down there and secure victory for the Fatherland. Securing the munitions there for Deutschland. MG4 sitting up to cover here while the other one covers from here. And surprisingly, this barbed wire hasn't really been wrecked, and it's to a large extent actually sort of worked. It certainly created a small party here and actually has a better chance of catching American infantry. Troops are reinforcing. Just going in again. He's now actually spreading out a bit more. Just a bit though. In this case, I'm going to spot out and actually catch part of his force here with the MG42. Sherman moving in from there. Jackson attacking from here, shooting up, actually hitting someone. Poor Deinhardt there went down with a armor-piercing round through the stomach. Sherman getting ready there, waiting for the stormtroopers with the punch strike to be able to move up and sort of deal with things. Troops there suppressed. We've got the infantry here, and we've got the stormtroopers with the Browning supporting as well, putting down the paratroopers there quite handedly. At the same time as all of this is happening, a smaller force is moving up the right-hand side again. You know, always, if possible, try to sort of deal things. And again, that's very effective versus players like KeineLust, who are very much, you know, sort of just about, you know, really big punches at one side of the map at the same time. There you go, sprinting up. Quickly, we need a puncher string. There you go, Sherman takes hits. And already down to, well, less than half health, almost wrecked in fact. Now the Sturmgeschütz on the way, Jackson firing. Stormtroopers moving up here. Additional punch strikes might, by the way, be a good idea for me, rather than just relying on one punch strike, which is certainly not the most effective. I mean, it does a bit of damage, but overall, it will never sort of really sort of quickly finishing off things. Now the bomb grenade there. We got Stormtroopers porting again. Another rifle squad there wiped. Another Sherman there for KeineLust. Bit of light machine gun fire there. And looks like another unit there got, well, liberated in the name of Deutschland. In this case was a paratrooper squad though, which was sent to the great paradrop in the sky. 31 kills there though. I think someone's earned themselves an Iron Cross at the very least. At the very least. Enemies points have been to CoH2 again, sort of lining up to support and provide a bit of battery fire there though so far. Again, the Jackson is forcing me to be a bit more cautious, but even then if I can get a good strike here and there, I can definitely sort of make it worth it. Plus, they still sort of force him to be a bit more cautious as well. He can't just rush any Shermans either without, you know, risking a bit, neither infantry, because, you know, Stugs can devastate infantry. Pretty well in particular pair can get off a good barrage. There again, additional Sherman arriving, the M483. Tommy Cook, as was also known by the Germans, and well, once it had a nice tendency of bursting into the flames. Burning, well, cooking the crew. He's Sherman here moving up on its own, actually, a bit surprising there. And at the same time, though, and I think this was actually a diversion from him, which is actually pretty clever. Either way, though, we've got an assault going up for the left flank. Even as he's sort of trying to draw attention here, he's then sort of more cautiously moving in, noting he's not quite as much trying to draw huge attention here, but either way, catches me a bit off guard. I was actually getting ready to sort of counter-attack here. I was thinking, alright, he's going to attack there. Instead, he just charges up here. A bit more spread out, a bit more sensible tactics now. Clearing up my MD42, my stormtroopers here, holding the edge of the woods there. Trying the best sort of deal with the Americans. You've got the Stooks moving up. Right squat, almost swap. Sherman's taking hits there. Storms needs to get away. Zurückfallen. Sherman takes a bit of hits there. Veteran 1-1 Sturmgeschütz. Paratroopers taking losses. Sherman moving up there. Quickly moving up the Grenadiers to Panzers. Got Stormtroopers getting a Panzerek as well. Neither shot though penetrates. Rather rotten luck there. And again. Panzer Grenadier for some reason are not getting close enough to shoot the Panzer. We've got the Jackson there charging in. We got another paratroop dropping in here for KeineLust to support his armoured advance. Jackson flanking in there, got Panzer with the Panzereks nearby, and there you go, Sherman went down. P-47 called in. Veteran 2 in the Jackson. Apparently I forgot all about my Stormtroopers here. Definite mistake there. I think I might be able to get there. We go, one shot going off. And Stu does not get off another shot there. Both the Veterans won, but both are wiped. Jackson gets away here, moving in the Stormtroopers. Got paratroopers, the Brownings. We got other paratroopers here. Pulling back the Jackson Sherman moving in. Almost Veteran 3 here. And there you go, they reach Veteran 3, the others hang about there. Pulling back the Jackson here. And in this case, I'll quickly pop in some Stormtroopers scores again. I figure he's going to repair around here. He's done it several times before, and now I realise, okay, I know what's going to go on here. I quickly pop over a bang grenade there despite taking losses from a high-close shell there. But right there, on the Jackson, killing the entire thing, finally getting vengeance for losing the Stormtroopers in the process. Another Sturmgeschütz on the way. Though I definitely should be more careful about them. This was basically because I was sticking too close to the too narrow area, by the way. But there goes Stormtroopers moving in. Very close to actually 341 kills. Definitely proving their worth there for Deutschland. And lastly, now KeineLust force is composed solely of paratroopers. Another fuel cast there going up, replacing the one lost. And another Sturmgeschütz. And now I can rest a bit more easily because he's got no Jackson.
The enemy is attempting to steal our sector.
Absolutely no Jackson. Interesting enough, he did not try to recruit that MD42, by the way. Pardon me, would have expected that. Actually, I was a bit worried about it, but there is no such thing. Stostrup moving up there with the Panzereks, ready to support. And lead the advance, in which case, of course, the Sturmgeschütz supports that, which is rather how they work, you know. You move the infantry, hit the Sturmgeschütz, then bombard from a slightly safer position, usually. Paratroopers are caught a bit, we've got the Sherman moving in. One grenade there fails to make a connection. Grenade going off, almost wiping out the veterans to 3 Stormtroopers. Pioneers, though, manning the MD42, were wiped out. A tragic loss for Deutschland. They were heroes to the end. Got a Pathfinder unit hit, caught by an awful lot of angry machine gun equipped Germans. Stopped there by the MD42 as well. Another Sherman on the way there. He's definitely fond of those Shermans. Seems to have lost hope in the Jackson for some reason. Which only makes things easier for my Sturmgeschütz, though only a bit. But again, always keep a pair of Stooks. Always a pair. At the very least.
How can we help?
Squad, ready to move.
So, how many Americans do you think we've killed this day? I don't know. I lost count at about 30. I didn't really think it mattered after that. To be honest, I'd rather prefer an MD42 and an MD34 over this American Scheiße. But he's actually getting a bit passive again. His tactics now have rather landed him in a bit of spot of trouble. We've got another Sturmgeschütz on the way. And at this point, I'm probably considering again, you know, tagging up, going for some heavier armor. MD42 again recruit. The MD42s do help me a bit here to hold the points. alongside all these light machine gun equipped troops. But there again, another push there with the paratroopers. He's very much relying on them at the moment here, these Browning paratroopers. He probably feels they're very effective, and certainly can be, but at the same time, they are expensive. They are expensive, and you can certainly bleed out if you're not careful. There you go. It's Panzerix here. They're caught in a bad position. Got the junks they're supporting. Important there, secured. Shots there, fight. Showing take a bit of damage. Got the paratroopers moving ahead. Dukes they're firing, bombarding. Well, most of the German infantry is pulling back here again for some reinforcements.
Our opponents are seizing a sector.
Squad, ready to move. Squad,
Moving up the LMG section here to deal with the right-hand side again, where he's got most of those paratroopers. I figure if he can attack him from the right angle, I should have a good chance, in particular now. These stormtroopers are veterancy-free with a Browning light machine gun, in which case they're going to be rather unpleasant gentlemen. In fact, they should be able to outdo a Grenadier escort with an MG-42. There you go, the paratroopers encountering no more veteran troops. They're quickly suffering out. The stormtroopers taking some losses here, but ultimately they persevere. Germans in bombarding. I'm partly thinking about this German, but Stooks, but a part of me sort of wondering, what if he's got another Jackson, you know? At least I'm waiting for the Panzerix performing him, but there goes Jackson charging his Sherman. Exposing himself to the Sturmgeschütz. Got the Panzergrenadier moving up there. Quick sprint again, you know, always a good thing to sort of quickly clear out through open terrain to get into cover. I mean, a lot of players tend to neglect it, but again, it is something to quickly get you into sort of a safe position. There goes Sturmgeschütz, lands a very nice hit there. Both Shermans there wrecked. The third one already here for the 5th Infantry.
Grenadiers ready. Grenadiers reporting objective captured.
ready to move.
45 kills on the Stormtroopers.
Shut it.
5 and 19 on the others. The Grenadiers with only 32.
Squad, ready to move.
Assault guns standing by.
Pulling back a bit to ensure they don't get easily rushed here. Keeping the Stormtroopers with the Panzerix nearby again
They're receiving new orders.
as well.
Yes?
And also beginning to lay down telemines. I should have done this much earlier, but now I actually got enough and to sort of realise, I could probably do that now. I've still got no sort of clear idea what he can do. I mean, he's clearly shown himself to be at least a nasty player who loves to pull surprise out of his hat, so in that regard, I'm not taking him lightly.
We have liberated this sector.
I mean, he might in some regard rely on rather crude tactics, but strategically he is a bit of a tricky devil. In this case, again, we get some very aggressive paradox, though, again, at the same time, he keeps relying on the paratrooper field a bit too much. He's not, what, 4 squads of paratroopers. I mean, this rather is beginning to feel like company was one with players would rely that heavily on elite calling infantry as the Americans. Again, the Grenadiers a bit on their own. Laying down more telemines here. Here goes Sherman. Hits the telemine. Engine completely cooked out. Reaction there with the Sturmgeschütz. There goes Sherman wrecked. Kaputt. Nicht mehr. And there you go. Stormtrooper with an MG-42 in support. Send the remaining paratroopers running. Telemines were not spotted. And there we go, another assault going in. Fully charging in there again. He's got a bit of a bad habit there, if anything. And I basically think, you know, he feels like he can get away with it. He's done it before properly, and just, you know, is a bit too lazy there. And of course, an MG-42 well positioned. With a nice bit of line of sight here. Quickly puts stops most of it. Got the Shermans moving in again. There's short distance here, though. In that regard, I made a mistake. Target weak point goes off here. Storm's coming up there with Panzerix. He's tying down one Sherman, a Stug at a time. Targeting weak point there. Stug down. Kaputt. Yeah. The MG-42 they continue here with the paratroopers. Closing in one Sherman there. Sherman moves through the flames of the previous Stug. Taking up, it's a bit risky. I realised it a bit too late there, but I always figured I'd get off a shot. Causing the Sherman to be abandoned. Collapse of the building. Veteran 2 on the Sturmgeschütz. Bit more armor then, and target weak point since the second Sherman cooking. And we do get some battles here with a bit of bite in them, I'll give that as much. At the same time, Tekov has been reached. He's calling in another paratrooper squad. Again, he's got quite some guts there. And he's actually using the paratroopers to recruit. I mean, had I moved my Stuka hit the fighter shot, that would have been bad for him, but even then. Paratroopers there dropping in. In this case, I mean, rather bad drop. I mean, that's a creep drop. I mean, you can sometimes get away with it, but, you know, at a certain point, you know, you gotta stop it, in particular when you sort of got a decent area where your opponent's men are. At this point, it shouldn't be too surprising for them. There's a lot of angry Germans here who are not happy to see the United States dropping from the sky.
Enemy forces are securing our territory.
If they're turning around, could consider some Pintermite machine guns on them. If it could hit. Heavy Panzer Corps they're going up. At this point, figure might as well go Panthers, though in this case he's just got 5 paratroop squads left. Bit of talk there, he's apparently wondering if it's the real ImperialDane he's going up against. Head-on assault there, encounters some heavy losses. The Panzer strike quickly puts a stop to a pair of them. But there you go, quick flank with some Brownings. Again, now he's sort of getting a bit more tactically there, though it might feel a bit too late. His victory points are not looking good. More shots there from the Sturmgeschütz, killing more Americans, leaving some dead. And calling another unit, realising there's a huge breakthrough here. Finally getting some with assault rifles. I do love them with Sturmgewehrs as well. Another paratroop drop here again. This time he might have caught me off a bit, gut, but my stormtrooper nearby trying to aid. Interesting enough, he's not doing anything to get even call in some re-echelons to repair it. Not entirely sure what he was thinking there. But there we go, GG. GG and game over. My apologies here for this match if it wasn't quite the highest quality, but I was a bit short on replay sort of cast for that day, or this day. And well, you know, I sort of quickly went for one. I'd play myself through that. Occasionally I do that if I'm short on replays. I begin playing matches myself and hope finding something interesting. In this case, you know, it was in part sort of, you know, well, shot this strategy just sort of thought out, in which case he clearly wasn't really that prepared, but also, you know, I mean, he was really using paratroopers aggressively. He also liked some of his flanking maneuvers, but again, you know, very much, there was one major mistake. That was his tendency towards blobbing and just relying on sheer brute force. And then again, it was, you know, partly a bit lame, but also ultimately, in this case, in the longer term, counted. At the same time, though, I mean, you know, what could I have done better? Obviously, I scored a second MD42 first, so I think I would, if I'd done that, I probably would have been a bit better standing as well. Earlier fuel caches might also have been a good choice here to support, but I also think, you know, keeping encircling on the raid with some stormtroopers in case he went for vehicles was the right idea. In this case, the stormtroopers ultimately, when we look at these gentlemen there with the Pilfered Browning, were what saved me in the longer run there as well. The Stoogs, of course, you know, some of course find Christian. Again, a part of me would like to see more on them, but even then, you know, they did some damage that caused him to, you know, be a bit more cautious. They've wrecked his vehicles left and right, though we're very much to the mercy of the Jackson. But ultimately, they saw me through the battles here. And I personally don't think Panther IVs would have fared much better, so I'd rather went for the cheaper option. I might have been able to get a Panther up, but even then I sort of basically bet on that in the longer run. I could have done with mines earlier as well, though. I think might have helped a bit more, though even then they did a bit, so it's not all a loss there, all a wash. But beyond that, I mean, you know, for the Doctrines, there's not really much else you say with them, so, I mean, just using Stormtrooper and Sprint, I generally tend to find sort of alright. It's the other ones, the rest ones that are a bit more tricky. Again, the way he played, none of these abilities I feel would have been very good to sort of use, so there's that as well. But overall, I hope you enjoyed this match. I hope you learned something from it. If you did, why not subscribe, tell your friends, share it with everyone. If not, you know, send in a replay and provide some feedback in the comments section. If you feel like supporting the Propagandacast, either consider donating. There's a link to PayPal there in the channel description. You can do so. or consider just disabling ad block. That's would also be very appreciated. Anyways, thank you all, and see you all tomorrow. Cheers.